My name is Darren Hovsepian. I'm the National Sales Director for a firm named Touchstone Retirement. We're going to talk about retirement plans. I want to make sure you understand that distinction. Why is that important? Well, from my understanding, everyone in this building is a business owner. And if the business owners aren't sitting down right now, then I want everybody who works for a business owner to take this back to them. Because business owners are also consumers too. And it's important that you look at both of these. Business owners need to understand something about their retirement plans because, let's be honest, retirement plans are why they can attract and retain the very best talent sitting in this room and in the local marketplace. It's very important. Okay, it's not just your salary or your wage. It's the retirement plan, how much money they put into that. Why is this important to business owners? Because of the added regulation in retirement plans, we have two regulators. We have the Department of Labor and we have the IRS. And they're great watchdogs of retirement plans and all things regulatory. And they are on a mission, as we speak, to audit as many small business owners as they possibly can to see if the retirement plan is tight. They don't care about how sexy it is. They don't care about the funds that are in there and all the alpha or the beta and the chasing the high returns. No, they want to make sure that those retirement plans are safe times affinity. Why? For you, consumers. That's all they care about. So a lot of penalties are going down right now to business owners because their plans aren't safe. We're going to talk about that. My speak is not intended to scare anybody. Okay? I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm giving you information. It might be scary. My speak is also not intended to advertise about Touchstone Retirement. But you're going to see some differences. It'll be subtle. So I'm coming at you with information. My intent is to inform, let you know what's happening, not down the road, right now. And like I said, if you're a business owner and you're not paying attention, then you, every one of you, have a vested interest in your company. Take it back to them. And for any follow-up, just go to David Monet, Financial Services Network. His booth is right over there. He's got a website. He's the conduit to me. Does that make sense? Okay. So the slide that you probably can't read if you're sitting in the back, cover page says two things that are distinctive here. I'm not going to read everything for you. There's some branding here. Again, I'm not trying to advertise. One says a custom plan design is a beautiful thing. Everybody wants their stuff custom, right? We're going to talk about this later on. I got a great slide. Ironically, it's a great slide about a suit. We don't want off the rack. We want custom tailored. You want a custom plan design. Why? We're small business owners in this room. I promise you, every large business out there that has a large retirement plan has a custom plan. If the assets in that plan, typically called assets under management, is 50, 100, $1 billion, PNC Bank. You work for PNC Bank, their retirement plan, $1 billion. They've got a custom plan. Touchstone brings a large plan offer to the small plan market. Definition of a small plan market: if the assets in that plan, 10 million and under. The industry, I'm going to try to stay away from technical jargon for everybody here, but if it's 10 million or less, that's considered a small plan. Touchstone brings a large plan offer, custom, to the small plan market. Let's talk about that. Okay, I didn't make this up. Pulled this off of the Department of Labor, DOL for short, their website. It's public information. They want you to know this. All right? They actually have 12 questions. I listed the top 6. I'm going to read them to you because I don't think you can read them. They tell you right there, if you answer no to any of these, you're probably in trouble. And if your answer is, I'm not sure, I don't know, you're probably in trouble. Why? Because if the answer is yes, we know how to say yes. We know yes when we see it. If it's not yes, it's probably a no. And it's a matter of time before you get stung. Let me read these off to you. Number one, has the plan official provided participant education on site? That's a key word, on site. In addition to other channels. What does that mean? That means wherever you're employed, do you actually see the vendor come on site and provide the employees with education about what's going on in the plan? The other channels are all those web-based stuff, right? If you're self-serve, you can go online and you can do this yourself. Everybody does that. But not everybody provides on-site education to small business owners and their employees. Why? It's pretty darn expensive. That's why. So if you're not getting on-site, if you're an employee right now and you haven't seen anybody in years, take this back to the owner and say, hey, you might want to have a checkup. We might want to have David Monet come in and take a look at our plan. Number two, has the plan official performed a plan review on an annual basis to ensure prudent practices? A plan review, it just means an annual physical. Once a year, you wouldn't see this as an employee, but the plan owner would, because once a year, that business partner would come into their boardroom, their office, and give them a report. I've never seen one less than 20 pages. They're usually 40 pages, maybe 60 pages, but it is an annual physical. It gives you demographics, your employees aged between 20 and 30, where's their money going? How about 30 and 40, where's their money going? How many participate, how many don't? How many left? What do they do with their money? Men versus women, demographics breakdown, who's saving, who's not. It ties back into the education that's supposed to be conducted to help make those numbers improved. But it's an annual physical that the provider does for the business owner. If you're not getting one, that's a problem. Have you provided the plan participants with a summary plan description, summaries of material modifications, and annual financial statements? Okay, there's a lot of stuff there. It just means, are you getting all of the financial reporting that you're supposed to have in your office? Because when you get that letter from the DOL, they're going to say, I'll be there in 30 days. Now, you can renegotiate that time. You can't push them out more than 90 days. So you can't tell them, hey, I'm busy that day. Can you come back in 6 months? No. You've got 90 days max to reschedule that. And they're coming to your office, and they want to see evidence of all this stuff. Otherwise, that plan's in trouble. You're paying something to somebody. Do you maintain copies of plan documents at the principal's office for the plan administrator for examination by participants and beneficiaries? In other words, if you're an employee, it's not going to speak common language to you, but you have the right to go into the owner's office and say, can I look at the plan document? You have the right to. And if they don't have it, they're in trouble. Do you maintain, are the plan's investments diversified as to minimize the risk of any losses? Commonly, you'd say, sure, my financial advisor takes care of that. But there's a science to that. It's not a financial stud or studess just picking funds out of the air because they're sexy and they had awesome returns last year. That's not how it works. It is not how it works. There's a science to it. They better follow the science. If the plan permits participants to select the investments on their own, is there enough information provided so that they can make those informed decisions? Or do they just tell you to go to a website or call 800 number and good luck? You can't do that. If you're going to have the employees now be their own financial advisors, you better arm them with the intelligence to make prudent decisions. And if not, your plan's in trouble. This is scary stuff for those. So if you're saying, I'm sure, listen, no one wants to confess no, right? We don't want to confess no. So if you're saying to yourself, I'm not sure, that's a no. Because you know if the answer is yes. As soon as I said it, you went, yep, check, yep, got that. I remember the day, I know exactly who it is. Visual aid appears immediately. If it's cloudy, not good. So, a well-known publication in our business, Pension and Investments, they ran this survey. Plan sponsor worries. Again, when you hear the word plan sponsor, that just means business owner. So let me break that down for you. Business owners' worries. And there's 4 things here. I'm going to read them all for you. They correlate directly to what I just talked to you about, those questions. Everything ties in. You're either getting it or you're not. 49% of business owners that were willing to confess, most of the time we take surveys, we don't want to tell everything. But 49 had no problem saying, yeah, I'm very concerned with participant, which is another term for employee. Employee participation, just being in the plan, and their savings rates. There's 2 things there. Are they in the plan? And at how much? Half are worried about that. Half confessed they're worried about that. That number is probably larger. 31%, the changing regulatory landscape. The previous slide should scare the heck out of almost everybody in this room. All right, only 31% confessed to it. This is moving quickly. Lawsuits are going down right now. Penalties, checks are being written by small business owners because they don't have a legal team of 10 or 20 to fight this off. They say guilty, they surrender, they plea, they write a check. 30% plan sponsor, plan administrative burdens. What does that mean? It means, hey, listen, we don't have a dedicated team of people that can just think retirement plans 24/7. So this is overwhelming. That's the reason why you need to hire a really good advisor that does this work for you. We'll talk about what a really good advisor is momentarily. There's definitely a distinction there. And the last one just says 28% are very concerned about litigation potential. Okay? 28% confess that that number should probably be 88%, not 28%. But again, you know, we don't know what we don't know. If they knew all the things that the DOL and IRS are looking for, that'd be a much larger number. But all of these things are tied to each other. If you don't have somebody on site giving you education, you should be concerned with participation and savings rates. People aren't going to go do this by themselves. They just don't. If you're not having all these documents in your filing cabinet, yeah, you should be very concerned with regulation and what's going on. And you should also be very concerned with litigation. And if you're overwhelmed because you don't have time for it, yeah, you should be concerned with the fact that you don't have the manpower, human power, to help beef up some of those soft spots. So this is happening right now. How real is it? There's no safety in size. Here's the solution that most business owners, especially small business owners, use, and that is, I'm going to hire somebody big, and it's going to be them. They'll take care of me. Full disclosure, I used to work for one of these big companies for many years, 15. So what I'm telling you is, don't take it personally, but their business model doesn't do what you think they're doing right now. I'll mention that again later, but let me tell you what's going on here. What you see here, and maybe not everyone can see it, you see some well-known names in the blue box, and the date there is when, and that date could be several. I could add 2016 to almost every one of these firms. These big firms are being sued all the time. Now, let me make a distinction here. They're being sued. It doesn't mean they're losing. They're not losing. Okay, they're not losing. That's the moral to the story. Don't miss that. I'm not saying big firms are bad. Here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that they were dragged into court, into litigation, small plan, business owner being sued. They want to drag in the big company that they work with and say, hey, they do all this stuff. Every one of these big companies got away, was dismissed. Not one penny came out of their pocket. They were liable for nothing, and rightfully so. Why? Because they are not the fiduciary on the plan. The fiduciary means the person who is in charge, who's liable. Every small business owner thinks that the company they hired to run their retirement plan is also the plan administrator. That's not true. That's false. They think that the plan that the provider they hire is also, their legal team. Not true. That's false. They provide services. They are not the fiduciary, which means they're not liable. They take no risk. The business owner owns that risk 100%, and they don't transfer it to the big name firms. Again, I used to work for one. So this is not going to change because they're never going to be the fiduciary. You outsource way too much responsibility to them blindly, thinking that they've got your best interest in heart. They're not trying to hurt you. They are not trying to hurt you. But there's a line that they don't step across, and you think they do. And that's the crime. So these companies are never going to get penalized, no matter how often they're named in lawsuits. And we hear about them even today. We hear about them. Big banks, big companies. I used to work for one of them. Always being sued. Always getting off. Always getting off because they're not the fiduciary. It's important to know what that is. So this is why every big plan, and I'm $100 million, $1 billion, PNC, they work with these big companies. They work with these big companies. They don't work with Touchstone. They work with these big companies. But they've got a piece in between them and that big company. And that is they have the consultant. They have the financial advisor that acts as a consultant, that acts in a fiduciary capacity, who is a true business partner for that business owner. They're liable. If they get dragged in, they're going to pay too. So the message is every business owner in this room better have a financial advisor or consultant working for them, making sure that they have yeses to the 6 questions I mentioned earlier. Technically it's 12, but I presented 6, the 6 most commonly abused, for lack of a better term. So the crime is not that you hired these companies. That's probably smart. The crime is you need to mimic large plan offer to the small plan market. You need to have a fiduciary. As a business owner, you're still the fiduciary, but it'd be nice having a co-pilot. Someone you can rely on who does think about this 24/7, who can guide you through the weeds, who can be your head coach and tell you what plays to run, that kind of thing. I'll give you another metaphor. I mentioned it earlier. Whether you're a guy or a girl, you buy suits from time to time. How many of us like buying off the rack? We might buy off the rack. How many of us buy off the rack and we're good to go? I mean, it's perfect fit. It's exactly the way we want it. And we don't have to do anything to it. How many? Anybody? Nobody. I buy suits. I try to get a good deal. Always take it to a tailor afterwards where they cuff the jacket, they do a little bit on the back seam, they tighten in, they do that stuff. So if you can get the same price off the rack versus custom tailor, is there anybody in the room that says off the rack? No, heck no. Everybody wants custom tailored. So we're talking about custom tailoring at the same price as off the rack. Right now you have off the rack. Right now your plan is off the rack. I promise you this because I know this. I worked for a big brand for many years. Their business model is catered to customization if you're a $100, $500 billion plan. They're not built for a small business owner. They'll service you, they'll take your business, but I'm going to give you some, I'm going to get into some things here that are going to draw the point home, and you're going to say, ooh, that's right. Ooh, that's right. This guy's right. There's a reason why your service, you're not custom tailored. You don't have somebody coming to your location and doing a financial education. They tell you, go to their region office. You go to them. Or you call the toll-free number. Plan design. If you are the business owner, they don't do a custom plan document for you. No. They give you a specimen document and you fill in about 7 or 8 blanks. That's it. Everything else is pre-formatted. There's no tailoring there. You fill in 7 or 8 blanks, but you should have a custom plan document. You may not like that standard language. You may not like the boilerplate stuff. It may not work for you. They don't let you touch it. But if you were a much larger plan, you wouldn't even use that document. You'd write your own, or your consultant would, and that would be the document. Let me give you another example. Your investments. This is where those companies sidestep the lawsuits, by the way. They're getting dragged in because of high fees. Whether the employee noticed high fees, the spouse of the employee noticed high fees, or a financial advisor that is helping the employee with their personal finances said, these are some high fees. Somebody made a phone call, anonymous or other, and somebody started a lawsuit. And here's why this exists. It exists because almost every company provider that services 401k plans is also a fund management company. You saw there, okay? I'm naming names, but it doesn't matter if it's Fidelity. If you have a Fidelity plan, you got Fidelity Investments. I'll say that. If you got your plan from Vanguard, you got Vanguard Investments. If your plan's from Wells Fargo, you got Wells Fargo Investments. That's just the way it works. It's the only way they can make money off of your small business is that you have to buy their funds. And they're expensive. They're not giving you the best share class. They're not giving you the same exact fund at a much cheaper rate that they save for the $100 million plan. No. You're technical, I don't want to get technical jargon. You're paying retail share class. You're not paying institutional share class. You hear the word open architecture an awful lot. Open architecture, okay, it's become a commodity. There's 2 layers of open architecture. There's guided architecture. That's the menu that most of you have right now in your retirement plan, where you see the company's funds are in the plan. That's called guided. Pure open architecture is very rare in the small plan market space. Pure open architecture means the company, like Touchstone, is not a fund management company at all. We have no funds. So we don't care what funds you want to put in there. Just give us the tickers, we'll put them in there for you. To me, it's a non-conversational piece. So I rely on the consultant or the advisor to give me the menu. That's the fund menu. I can care less what it is. But the consultant has the freedom to give you the very best funds. In fact, the consultant has the freedom to give you the exact same fund menu that billion-dollar plan has today. The exact same cost structure as well. And you might be a $1 million plan. Maybe you're 2.5. Maybe you're 500,000. You have the exact same fund menu. You see? That's prudent. That's safe. That's what we're talking about. And that's why the basketball players look very different. All right, so we call it the LTAM 401k program. LTAM stands for Ladenburg Thalmann Asset Management. Very large firm on Wall Street. They actually have a seat on the exchange. I think they're the 5th oldest seat on the exchange currently as we speak today. They're affiliated with David Monet Financial Services Network. So only David can give you the Touchstone product, which we are the exclusive provider for this product because of who we are. So let me just rattle off some of the key benefits. I hope this makes sense to you. It may not, it might be a little bit over the head, but we'll talk about it if we have to. Overall, low plan fees. Okay, that's not saying much, right? Everybody says they're low fees. But we actually advertise our breakpoints on every proposal. What does that mean? Breakpoints is a way of discounting when your plan grows. It's the secret sauce for all these big companies. Every company. Even your company today has breakpoints. Your company today has, if you buy X amount of volume, you get a built-in discount. That's a breakpoint. We advertise what the breakpoints are. So as the plan grows, you're going to hit these breakpoints. And you're going to get a lower costing plan automatically. That's awesome. With any one of the other companies, they never know what the breakpoints are. The consultant has to call 1,000 times. And even then, it's not easily disclosed. Complete fee transparency. I think I've already hit that. Everybody knows everybody that is getting paid out of the plan, advisor, company like Touchstone, if there's anybody else, it's line itemed. Every quarterly statement that you get, you'll see those line items. There's nothing hidden. In our business, a lot of the fees are hidden. They're bundled in, disguised. You have no idea. Everybody thinks their plan is free. Nobody's plan is free. Professional third-party money management. Ladenburg's a great company. Heck, if David decides that for your particular case that's not appropriate, he wants to go a different way, he can go a different way. Ladenburg does not say that you have to use our funds in the mix. That goes back to that pure open architecture. Ladenburg is a great solution because they have very low expenses. For those in the audience that know what I'm talking about, average expense is 28 basis points, not 1.28 that you're probably paying right now, which is 128. I said 28 basis points. That's like Vanguard cheap, okay? So they're not a bad option. But if you don't love them, that's fine. We strip them out. We'll give you whatever you want. This is what I'm talking about, the fiduciary protection. You have a fiduciary on the plan. That's someone who's acting on behalf of the employees, not the employer or company. As a fiduciary, you have to act on the behalf of the consumers. Otherwise, you lose your license. Easy to use participant education. We arm the advisor with enough handheld tools, whether it be smartphone, tablet, or other, that they can meet with you at home, they can meet with you in the office, they can meet with you in the cafeteria, doesn't matter. And they can do full financial planning for you in 5 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever it takes. We arm them with the tools. Highly personalized service. As a small business owner, you will have a dedicated relationship manager. You'll have a dedicated live manager at Touchstone working with you. See, that's also where a lot of these small business owners get in trouble. They don't have a live person that works with them. They got to call in to, the Vanguard, the Fidelities. Who's going to have time? Who does that? Who calls in? Nobody has time to call in. So they put the onus on you to run your own play. That goes back to that burden, right? Administrative burden. We have a live person. That live person is dedicated to you and your team. They'll make sure that nothing gets missed. And they work with the advisor on everything. Lastly, I think I said this a couple times, plan design and compliance expertise. We've been doing this for a long time at Touchstone. So we have live contacts. If an auditor comes in and wants to be tough with you, get us on the phone. We'll get our compliance team on the phone with the auditor. They love each other. When an auditor is talking to auditor, all of a sudden no one's being tough anymore. There's mutual respect. All of a sudden now they get chummy with each other, and everything just seems to be okay. We'll get it to you in a week. We're good with this. Okay, we're good with that. We're done. So we're a high-touch, white-glove firm. We bring that customization to the small market. Touchstone has 1,100 clients, over $3.5 billion in assets under management. Pretty good-sized small firm. We target plans under 10 million, so think about that. Most people up here say, yeah, $100 million plan, I want that. Touchstone says, no, I want 100 $1 million plans. Our average plan size, $2.5 million. We have 1,100 clients, $3.5 billion in assets. Do the math. Our clients are small business owners. We've got some big ones, not enough. That's our business. That's who we are. We bring a large plan offer to the small plan market. We partner with Ladenburg Thalmann because they are regal in this business, and they work with David Monet's broker-dealer. So David has a unique opportunity to provide best-in-class 401k plan to every one of you in this building. Every one of you. At a price that mirrors the big plans with all the sexy stuff that all the big plans, the customization, no one's buying off the rack. Everybody gets custom tailored. And you're not paying more for it. Because we are, our business, like I said before, it's not their fault. They're not evil companies. Their business model is built for the big business owner. Our business model is built for the small business owner. And it's as simple as that. I don't see any questions. Are there any questions? I'm going to hand it back to David Monet. David Monet has a booth right over here. I'm sure he'll give you as many business cards as you want. It costs you nothing to meet with him and have him review what you currently are using now. And if you decide not to proceed and shake hands and do business with him, hey, it still costs you nothing. Thank you for your time.